The My Hero 1's Justice 2 speedrun was by far the hardest one to master out of all the speedruns I've done. Although story mode is just a series of battles, it makes you play as a ton of different characters, which means having to learn all of their moves. In this arena fighter, where each moveset is very unique. If things go according to plan, you only need a combo or two per character, but battling the AI isn't always that predictable. So knowing their moveset is essential in case something goes wrong. The speedrun does start a bit slow thanks to the tutorial. You're required to do certain moves before the game advances. I knock out most of them in this first combo, then get the last kick on All Might as he gets up, throw both projectiles, and then do all my movement options before blocking an attack and unlocking the real fight. We're gonna play as Deku a lot, and Deku is pretty simple when it comes to killing enemies fast. You just splat them on the ground and then time your yellow attack correctly when they get up and splat them again. Because this is tutorial Deku, we have a charged projectile in our pocket, so we're gonna use that to land this last hit and finish the fight even faster. There's another tutorial, however, and this is a big one. The first steps are pretty fast, but then you're waiting for All Might to attack you so you can guard cancel and tech out of a combo. Because the last step is to call an assist, that means we have plenty of time to kill because those assists are on cooldown. So we build as much meter as possible because we're gonna need it. All Might wants to see my plus ultra, which I'm going to interrupt using the Ida assist, and that allows me to build a little bit more meter after the super is done. Plus ultra 2 is long as hell, and the next is the assist super, but both of my assists are on cooldown. That's no problem, however, because we still need to build 4 bars of meter. We call Uraraka as soon as she comes back and build just enough to get the 3 bars during the slide and complete the tutorial. Next up is Todoroki. Todoroki has a very simple combo to go for that starts with jumping attacks. But when chasing or applying pressure after the combo is over, we're just gonna start with the armored attack in case Endeavor decides to counter us. Really unfortunate how Endeavor survives here with only 1 pixel, and of course he had to attack us, causing us to lose more time, but nothing too bad. Aizawa likes pretty short combos, and he likes it when Bakugo techs in the air, so he can keep going for that fast combo over and over. Bakugo, on the other hand, is one of the most inconsistent characters in the speedrun. His combo is pretty fast and deals good damage, but the tracking on his jumping attack isn't always the best. Fortunately, everything went well against Denki here, and as soon as he's in kill range, we finish it with a plus ultra. Mina is very interesting. This is the only fight with Mina. The combo is simple, but it applies acid at the end, and if you let the acid run out, the combo scaling is terrible. So ideally, you want to apply acid again a second time. But Mineta is not cooperating as he parries me not once, but twice. So we had to improvise a little bit, and with some good improvisation at the end, we're able to make good time anyway. And this is why learning these characters was important. 1 combo was not enough. Back to Bakugo, and unfortunately, we do get caught by a pretty long attack from Nomu, which puts us on a wall splat on top of that. This was not a great fight. Deku, on the other hand, went perfectly. You already know the drill. There are only 2 ways to escape this loop, and it's if the AI sidesteps or just guards. Of course, the window for pulling this off is pretty short, so I could also mess it up too. Seiji is just funny. Unblockable attack on loop. If you time it right, Inasa falls for it every time, and it's one of the fastest fights in the entire speedrun. Uraraka is one of my favorite characters to play during this speedrun because her method is an actual combo, and that health bar melts pretty well. Timing the red attack every time on wake up can be tricky, but it's pretty consistent if you've got it down. And then we're back to Bakugo, the king of inconsistency. Seiji dodges an attack for my kill combo and then goes for a full combo of his own. This was pretty bad. I really think a perfect My Hero run is impossible though. The AI has too many chances to ruin a good run, so it's less about being perfect and more about minimizing risk and being consistent. And yes, we did drop that last Denki combo, but that wasn't too bad. Inasa is one of the biggest tests to my reactions. This combo isn't hard to pull off, but after it's done, you have to hold block and only mash if you see a red attack coming from Orca. Any other attack, you have to block, or it's a massive time waste. And if you don't react to the red attack, it's really bad news too. This is what a perfect Inasa fight looks like though. I'm really proud of this one. Not proud of this, however. Apparently I mistimed my pressure on Orca and my punishment was a plus ultra. It's bad enough that I mistimed it, but I'm also waiting for that plus ultra cutscene, and that can be a pretty big time waste. We fast forward to Mirio, where all you have to do is quirk 1. You do have to hold it sometimes, making you invincible so you don't get hit by Deku's attacks, but other than that, you just punch him really hard over and over. Nejire has a very high damage plus ultra 1, so she's one of the few characters where it's actually worth going for it, because usually the cutscene makes it not so worth it. Other than that, it's a pretty simple combo. Tsuyu does escape my wake up pressure right at the end, but nothing terrible. And in this run, nothing terrible is good enough. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. Kirishima time, and he also has a very good plus ultra, so we open with that. And then we find the opening for this very simple combo over and over. This thug opened with a yellow attack on Nejire, and this takes so long. It's such a bad start. The fight went pretty well after that until I got hit by it again. This time, fortunately, I dropped out before it was over, and I could just finish the fight. Not I AI also has a very good reaction test. One attack, confirm into plus ultra. It can only be one attack, otherwise the plus ultra won't deal that much damage, and you can only plus ultra if they don't block the attack. So it's a reaction on a hit confirm. Other than that, air combos are your best friend. With Tamaki, you put the gangster on the ground and then time your octopus hug correctly, looping it over and over. The window is very tight, so I auto time it by doing a sidestep plus 2 steps of his normal walk, and that works pretty well for me. Fat Gum is pretty simple, just spam quirk 1. Make sure you get into the right position to catch Rappa when he wakes up, and don't get punched by his yellow attacks. I actually managed to avoid a yellow attack, the second one, but then walked right back into it. That was almost good, which should be the title of this channel. Fighting against Toga is really tricky. Chasing her can be dangerous because she armors a lot, and those projectiles can definitely kill a run. So I try to stay below her where the projectiles won't hit. I'm really proud of this reaction, by the way. I see her move and immediately parry instead of going for my combo. And this is why this speedrun was really hard work. Mirio against Overhaul is pretty much the same as Deku, but Overhaul is going to attack a lot more, so you have to phase through his attacks more often. I do barely miss the final attack and get hit instead, but that was a pretty good recovery in the end. And now it's time to repeat this fight, but without the quirks. This one is tough. Basically, you want to do the jumping combo over and over again, and then pressure with a yellow attack, or by rolling the same way that Overhaul techs. If you guess it wrong, you get hit. The fight is pretty fast if you do it all correct, though. This one was okay. I could have done better. Following this, there are a bunch of Deku battles. They all went really well. There's another Uraraka fight, which was also perfect. And then it's boss time. On the boss fight, you basically use the unblockable attack to close in the distance, and then you use your yellow attack followed by the punch flurry to build meter, or the projectile to stun the boss quicker. I usually prioritize meter build because most of the damage is going to come from your plus ultra. The boss is jumping a lot in this run, and it's really hard to predict where he's going to land. Ideally, you want to dodge him while he's landing, so you can get some damage while he recovers from that jump. After a while, the boss will be stunned, and that's when you dump your meter. Look at that beautiful damage. Chisaki goes for a plus ultra 1 here, which is perfect. Even though this is a time waste, the one thing you don't want to see happen is a plus ultra 2, because that's really hard to dodge and takes ages. If that happens, the run is dead. We deal a ton of damage during the next stun phase, and now we're so close. Chisaki uses this move that gives him a ton of meter, and now I'm worried because he could actually do a plus ultra 2 and kill my run right here. Luckily, he doesn't do it. We're able to stun him again and finish him off. That's the hero story done. Onward to the villains. The villains side is a lot shorter, there are less characters to learn, but the AI is a lot harder, so it's a lot more unpredictable. With Toga, you keep the combo short and simple. You go for needles when you can because they do more damage, but then don't actually transform into the character and just go for a knives combo until the transformation buff runs out, so you can go for needles again. Kami has a pretty good combo that starts on the ground, and her ground attacks have some pretty good priority, which allows you to be super aggressive. You only play as Dabi once in this mode, which was surprising, and it's funny because his best route for speedrunning isn't too far from what you do with Dabi normally. Twice is hella funny to play. Even though the combo is short, the distance on his slide makes it so fun to chase enemies. Also, whenever possible, get a red attack in there. It's riskier, but deals a lot more damage, so if you see the opportunity, go for it. And then we have Overhaul, who is the character that you'll play as the most. I tried a variety of combos with this guy, but the fastest method seems to be just looping the jumping yellow attack. I can't believe this thug actually just guarded my pressure, but that's okay. We're ready with a dash cancel, and we'll put him on the ground again. Rappa actually escaped my pressure with a sidestep, so Overhaul hasn't been too lucky in this run so far. We scramble a bit, and the rest of the fight goes without a hitch. The villain side is a lot of this, but the enemies escape your pressure a lot more often than on the hero side, and you gotta be ready to scramble. Compress was particularly annoying this time around. Then we get Shigaraki, who I absolutely love to play as too. The combo is just 2 hits into the corrupted choo-choo train, but once again, you have to track where the opponent is attacking so you catch them with your next attack. With that, you've seen most of the characters already, and a lot of these fights are gonna use the same tactics. You haven't seen Rappa yet though, and of course his first fight is against Toga, who can be an absolute pain. Rappa's jumping attacks are one of his biggest strengths, so our goal is to catch Toga with those and then make the most out of each hit. This went pretty well until the very last hit where Toga calls twice to break the combo. This is completely random and there's nothing you can do about it. I would have killed her with just one more hit. We still get the hit, it was just a bit delayed. Toga has a couple of really tough fights next because Deku and Aizawa go really hard. So you want to go fast, but you have to constantly look out for their attacks because these guys will not sit still. Twice gets to shine again. He absolutely does not care about your just guard. Night Eye didn't like that, so he got a couple of hits on me, but not a terrible fight at all. I had a perfect fight against Mirio, who can do a lot more than just guarding or sidestepping whenever I go for this pressure. So that's a scary fight, but it went perfectly. But then Mirio, with no quirk, was actually pretty bad. The man was blocking my pressure and countering when I tried to follow up, Miria without a quirk was such a threat. It was smooth sailing from this point on, or as smooth as you can expect it. Overhaul V2 has a different combo we go for, but the plan is basically the same. He's very slow at moving around, but that doesn't really matter too much because the AI isn't running away. In fact, they'll come to you more often than not. And Compress was one of the toughest characters to figure out, and I'm still not fully convinced I have figured them out. I go for a simple jumping combo usually, but even this simple combo is inconsistent as hell. We do the best we can though. You get to use Deku here in the villain story. It's really Toga in disguise, but the method is the one we already know from the hero's side. And then it's time to be the boss himself. And this boss fight from the villain side is a lot more RNG and can easily kill a run at the very end. As the boss, your best move is to spam this over and over. This move will summon 5 rocks at Deku's feet. At most, he can get hit by 3 of them. So if he gets hit by 3 out of those 5 rocks, I'm really happy. If he only gets hit by 2, I'm still happy, but if he gets hit by 1, I'll be very sad. There's not much you can do to influence if the rocks hit or not. Your character is too slow, so this is pure RNG. But even worse than the rocks is Deku using Eri to heal. I've had practice runs where he healed up to 5 times, and that makes this fight very long. And I've also had practice runs where he did not heal at all. So it's the most random fight in the entire game, and it's right here at the end of the speedrun. So if you're thinking of running this game, just be ready. Some runs will die right here. In this run, Deku healed twice, and my rocks hit pretty consistently, so not too good, not too bad, which should be the name of my second channel. And with that out of the way, there's only one more fight ahead of us, and it's Shigaraki versus Overhaul. Now, Overhaul plays really well in this fight. He will block a lot of your pressure and approach, so you have to be ready to dash cancel and keep the pressure going. Also, this stage sucks to chase an opponent after they tech, because you just cannot see in which direction they went, but somehow I have a sixth sense that just lets me guess where they went correctly, so this fight goes pretty well. We skip a couple more cutscenes and bam, 1 hour, 16 minutes and 22 seconds, which is a new world record for this story mode. Fun fact, the previous world record was on Stadia, and this leaderboard is full of My Hero Tournament players, so these guys know the game pretty well. I'm very proud of this one. While practicing this run, I also snatched both the record for the hero and the villain side. I like that these splits exist. It's a complex speedrun. Breaking it into small pieces definitely helped. And this isn't my first time breaking an anime game world record. In fact, I completely broke the Trunks DLC in Kakarot. That speedrun will never be the same, and you can watch it right here. Have fun!